Hi, everybody. My name is Nathan Agin. Welcome to the Working Actors Journey Rehearsal Room. We started this project in June 2020, and it came out of what we could do with all the time during the pandemic. For those who are new here, what you'll see tonight is not meant to be a final performance, but rather a continued work in progress. This is just the next step of the rehearsal. It is also an opportunity for artists of different generations and backgrounds to collaborate, learn from one another, and to continue the lineage of honing this craft by doing. The rehearsal room continues the great theatrical history of apprenticeship, where newer and younger artists get to see up close how professionals work after 30 plus years, the questions to ask, how to explore, how to communicate with one another, how to take direction. And we can also explore different casting, being more conscious to gender, age, or race than theaters sometimes can be. And we can bring artists together from all over the place. Sometimes it's people that haven't worked together for 20 years just because of geography or time or schedules. So that's always a wonderful reason to bring people together. And as you'll see tonight, we're exploring a scene in a different way, having one character played by two different parts. And I'll let the participants kind of explain and share more of what that is. And I think you'll pick it up as we go. But I do want to say you can join us and get replays of all the sessions starting at just $5 per month. I want to thank our current patrons, Joan, Michele, Christian, Jim, Magdalen, Ivar, Claudia, and Clif. Thank you very much for supporting us, helping us keep the virtual lights on and administrative stuff. And we're doing these every month. So now next month, February, a little bit different. We're doing weekly sessions, and I'm planning to pull something from our archive. We've done almost or close to 30 different workshops. It's possibly going to be something from Richard III, a scene from that play. Got to make the final selection very soon, but you can sign up to receive both video and audio replays of those. And those will, probably be available maybe Wednesday or Thursday over the weeks of February. And I'll be sure to send all of those who have signed up here information in the email of how you can get involved if you want to, continue finding out more about how this work all comes together on a weekly basis. You can learn more there. And if you do have any questions for the group tonight, please put them in the chat and we'll get to those at the end. And I think that is it from me. I will have the group do a very quick round of introductions just so everybody listening can kind of get acclimated of who is doing what. And then we'll have a very quick overview and context of the play that has brought us to this point in the play. So with that, I will turn it over to our director, Paul Nicholas, and I will see you guys at the end for a little Q&A. So have fun.
Thanks, Nathan. As Nathan said, I'm J. Paul Nicholas. I am directing this funhouse. And even though she doesn't have the character name behind her name, I'll pass it over to Kathleen, who is playing Gertrude. Go ahead. Want to introduce yourself?
Oh, hello. Hi, I'm Kathleen Turco-Lyon. Happy to be here. Always happy to discuss Shakespeare and nerd out with colleagues that enjoy the work. Yeah.
Max?
And I'll go next. Great. Hello, everyone. I'm Max, and I'm playing half of Hamlet. And this is my second project with the Working Actors Journey, and I'm so honored to be in this group of such intelligent and passionate actors and artists.
Charlotte?
Hello, everyone. My name is Charlotte Northeast, just like the direction. I am playing the other half of Hamlet. I'll let you decide how you want to characterize us after you hear the reading. This is my fourth, I don't know, Nathan will know, go around with this workshop, and it's always an adventure. So I'm glad to be here.
And last, but certainly not least.
Hi all, I'm Cassie Alexander. I am an actor and I've been serving this room as dramaturg because I'm a big text nerd. Delighted to be here and hope you are all well.
You are a lot of things beyond an actor, Miss Cassie. Cassie, do you want to say a few words about like where we are in the story, or do you want to do that later before we do the final read, or not at all? What your call, your choice.
I would be happy to cede to you if you'd like to talk about your vision for two Hamlets. I think that's maybe the more interesting thing if you want to talk about that at all.
So, okay, for those people who are listening, because the people in this room have heard it before. For years, I was curious, fascinated by the soliloquies. And, you know, everyone says how indecisive the character is. And I've always been fascinated by the fact that it sounded to me like he was arguing with himself. And me trying to figure out why, and what his motivations were from both sides of the arguments. And then I directed a student production of Hamlet, and the person that I cast to play Hamlet said to me, "This is just way too many lines. I have schoolwork to do. I can't learn all these lines." And then the idea popped into my head, well, what if we had two people sharing the lines? And of course, they both thought that I meant one of them would play the first half of the play and the other one would play the second half of the play. And I said, no, both of you on stage together, playing it together. And then we could really see both sides of him, of the character, trying to work his way through all the challenges and all the decisions and all the pressures and stresses, all the slings and arrows, as it were, that he had to face, which I thought was a crazy idea, but it worked. It turned out really well and it worked. And since then, I've been like fine-tuning the text to see where I don't know if there's any right divisions, but to see where the most effective divisions are in the lines, and to try to identify what parts of Hamlet are we looking at. It's like, is one half his ego and the other half is insecurity? Is one half like super aggressive and the other half very passive? I don't know. And maybe it's all of that. And there are many more divisions that we could name. And maybe it's all of that depending on the context, depending on the scene. And as I've said to these guys, they are not always in opposition. There are some scenes, this one being one of them, where they're actually at times pretty aligned. Anyway, I don't like to hear myself talk too much, so I'm done. What else you got, Cassie?
I don't know that I have anything. I think that to me is the exciting nugget of what we've been exploring for the past couple of weeks.
Okay. Then we will work under the assumption that most people listening to this are somewhat familiar with the play and with the characters and kind of know what's going on. I think they'll know what's going on enough to get what we're doing. So let's get back into our rehearsal if everybody's cool. Yeah? Thumbs up? Yeah? Cool. First, Cassie, did you see the latest version I sent you with the stage directions, like the one from 5 minutes ago? Okay, cool. Why don't we go through those? You and I can see them. Why don't we tell everybody what they are? And do you agree with them, Cassie? Do you like my choice for option 1 over option 2 in that second one? Okay, let me just say it out loud. Let's just have everybody hear. Huh?
So I have two questions. Initially looking at this, you have highlighted in green the act and scene numbers. Do you want that to be read aloud?
I think so, yeah. If we're going to be reading stage directions, then let's say what act and scene we're in.
Understood.
Unless you disagree. So this is what I've got, friends. The first thing we will say is Cassie will say, Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 3, Claudius tries to pray. After Claudius says, all may be well, Cassie says, sorry, stage directions are, Claudius kneels, Hamlet enters with his sword. And I like that so that we don't need to interrupt Hamlet's lines to say he draws his sword. Is that cool?
Mhm.
Cool with that? The next thing we will hear is after up sword and know thou a more horrid hint. Stage direction is Hamlet sheaths. I'm so glad I don't have to say that. Sheaths his sword. Have fun with that. We will not hear Hamlet exits. This physic but prolongs thy sickly days. I will just ask the Hamlets to turn off their cameras. In fact, Max, I just had an idea. When you say my mother stays, why don't you turn off your camera so Charlotte has the stage to herself to talk to Claudia?
Okay.
And then after sickly days, Charlotte, turn off your camera. Then we will hear scene 4, Queen Gertrude with Polonius. We will not see Polonius, but Queen Gertrude will pop on screen and we will hear Polonius talking to her. And after Gertrude says, I hear him coming, we will hear Polonius hides behind the arras. So let me ask you all a question. Should we say curtain or is arras okay? You're muted.
Curtain.
Go ahead, Max.
Oh, that's just like for accessibility, probably curtain, since it's just a stage direction or tapestry.
Was that what you were going to say, Kathleen?
I was going to say Aris, but maybe people don't know what that is. So either way, doesn't matter.
Thoughts, Cassie? Charlotte?
Does it matter? Can we say Hamlet hides?
Polonius hides.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Well, originally that's what I had was Polonius hides, but then later on we are going to say Hamlet stabs Polonius through the
Curtain.
So because of that, I think we need to say Polonius hides behind the
Curtain sounds okay.
Okay with curtain? Everybody? I mean, I like arrows too, but curtain is easier to understand, especially in a stage direction. Speaking of that, so we're going to hear, I hear him coming. Polonius hides behind the arras.
Behind the curtain.
Sorry, curtain. Sorry, I'm switching it. I'm switching it right now. I'm switching it right now so we don't sacrifice that shared line. Let's do it this way, Cassie. I'll warrant you, fear me not, withdraw. Nah, leave it. Leave it where it is. Or what do you say? Never mind.
I don't want to lose the shared line either. I don't know that she's instructed him to withdraw. Is it implied? It feels implied to me.
Yeah, but because we're doing stage directions, I feel like we should say it because we're not seeing him on screen. I feel like we should say it. What I was going to say was she could say, fear me not, withdraw, and then you say it, and then she says, I hear him coming. Now, mother, what's the matter?
But it also, as written, if I may, gives, not that we're doing it, but gives time for the action to happen. I hear him coming. There's a couple of beats that could prolong, because of a director's request, Hamlet's entrance, so that
I agree.
See what I mean?
Let's leave it as written. So I hear him coming, stage direction, Polonius hides behind the curtain. And then now, mother, what's the matter? Let me just update mine to curtain. The next time we hear stage directions is how now a rat, dead for a ducat dead. Stage direction is he stabs Polonius through the curtain. The next, and I think last time we hear stage directions is after as kill a king, I, lady, it was my word. The stage direction is he reveals Polonius's body. And I think that's the last time we hear a stage direction.
So we're not waiting for any stage directions around the ghost entering or exiting, is that correct?
No, but you're going to have sound cues.
Fun.
The sound cues is how you will know the ghost is there, and that's also how you will know the ghost is leaving. If the person running the sound cue remembers to do it. Any of those stage directions need to be repeated? Everybody good? Okay. Any thoughts since last week? Kathleen and I had a email exchange about one of her lines, but anybody else have any thoughts, new ideas, questions, concerns? No? All right. I say we go through it one time. We have a chat about it with some notes and stuff. And then like at 9, somewhere between 9 and 9:15, we blast through it again.
Can I offer something, Paul?
Absolutely.
This week I've just been so interested in thinking about how the scene changes pace, rhythm, and atmosphere 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I agree.
In the scene. It's a great opportunity. I always crave, getting off Zoom and getting in the room, but
so that's the kind of thing that I'm going to be listening for in this go through. So I'm letting go of a lot of the technical stuff and just listening for the rhythm and meaning.
Yeah.
And actors and Cassie, please, if you hear something while we're reading that sticks in your ear, please let's talk about it after. Cool. Let's rock and roll. Let me turn off my camera.
Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 3, Claudius tries to pray.
Bow stubborn knees, and heart with strings of steel be soft as sinews of the newborn babe. All may be well.
Claudius kneels, Hamlet enters with his sword.
Now, might I do it, Pat? Now he is praying, and now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven. And so I am revenged.
That would be scanned. A villain kills my father, and for that, I, his sole son, do this same villain send to heaven. Why, this is hire and salary, not revenge. He took my father's grossly full of bread, with all his crimes broad blown as flush as May.
And how his audit stands, who knows, save heaven?
But in our circumstance and course of thought, 'tis heavy with him. And am I then revenged? To take him in the purging of his soul, when he is fit and seasoned for his passage?
No.
No. Up sword, and know thou a more horrid hint.
Hamlet sheathes his sword.
When he is drunk, asleep.
Or in his rage.
Or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed.
At game, a swearing, or about some act that has no relish of salvation in it. Then trip him that his heels may kick at heaven.
And that his soul may be as damned and black as hell whereto it goes.
My mother stays.
This physic but prolongs thy sickly days.
Scene 4, Queen Gertrude with Polonius.
He will come straight. Pray you, be round with him.
Forgive me.
I'll say it again. You want me to say it again?
Yep, please.
He will come straight. Pray you, be round with him.
I'll warrant you, fear me not. Withdraw. I hear him coming.
Polonius hides behind the curtain.
Go ahead.
Say it again, Cassie.
Polonius hides behind the curtain.
Now, mother, what's the matter?
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
Come, come, you answer with an idle tongue.
Go, go, you question with a wicked tongue.
Why, how now, Hamlet?
What's the matter now?
Have you forgot me?
No, by the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife.
And would it were not so, you are my mother.
Nay, then I'll set those to you that can speak.
Come, come, and sit you down, you shall not budge. You go not till I set you up a glass where you may see the inmost part of you.
What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me? Help! Ho!
What, help?
Come now, a rat! For a ducat, dead!
He stabs Polonius through the curtain.
Oh, I'm sweat.
Me, what hast thou done?
Nay, I know not. Is it the king?
Oh, what a rash and bloody deed is this.
A bloody deed.
As almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother.
As kill a king.
Aye, lady, was my word.
He reveals Polonius' body.
Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool! Farewell. I took thee for thy better. Take thy fortune. Thou find'st to be too busy is some danger.
Leave wringing of your hands.
Peace.
Sit you down.
Down.
Is that you, Max?
And
Sorry.
let me ring. I have that marked as me.
Okay, sorry, I don't have that.
I have that marked as Charlotte.
Maybe mine's mismarked.
Is that, did we change it? I think maybe we did.
Possible. So, Charlotte, where do you have me re-entering?
Let
And
me
let
ring
me
your
ring
heart.
your heart.
Thank you.
So we're not.
Okay, let's go back to he reveals Polonius's body. And Max,
Mhm.
I think you have immediate regret about what has happened. You really liked Polonius. He was a fool, but he was entertaining, and you knew that he cared about your dad when your dad was alive. So you can be more kinder and regretful about what has happened. Once you realize, oh my God, this is who I really killed.
Got it.
Let's go from he reveals Polonius's body.
And just to confirm, Max is coming in on and let me ring your heart.
Correct. You are saying peace, sit you down.
Right. Thank you.
And I'm sorry if I was the one who screwed that up last week.
No, that was me.
I honestly don't remember, so it's all good. It's all good.
Ready, Cassie?
Yep. He reveals Polonius' body.
Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool! Farewell. I took thee for thy better. Take thy fortune. Thou find'st to be too busy is some danger.
Leave wringing of your hands. Peace, sit you down.
And let me wring your heart, for so I shall, if it be made of penetrable stuff.
If damned custom have not brazed it so that it be proof and bulwark against sense.
What have I done that thou darest wag thy tongue in noise so rude against me?
Such an act that blurs the grace of blush and modesty, calls virtue hypocrite.
Takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love and sets a blister there. Makes marriage vows as false as dicer's oaths.
The deed, as from the body of contraction, plucks the very soul, and sweet religion makes a rhapsody of words.
Heaven's face doth glow with tristful visage, as against the doom is thought-sick at the act.
Ay me, what act that roars so loud and thunders in the index?
Look here, upon this picture, and on this. The counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See what a grace was seated on this brow. Hyperion's curls the front of Jove himself.
I, like Mars, to threaten or command, a station like the herald Mercury, new lighted on a heaven-kissing hill.
A combination and a form indeed, where every god did seem to set his seal, to give the world assurance of a man. This was your husband.
And look you now what follows. Here is your husband, like a mildewed ear, blasting his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Could you on this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this more? Huh? Have you eyes?
You cannot call it love.
For at your age, the heyday in the blood is tame. It's humble and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment would step from this to this?
Sense, sure you have. Else could you not have motion, but sure that sense is apoplexed. For madness would not err, nor sense to ecstasy was ne'er so thralled, but it reserved some quantity of choice to serve in such a difference.
What devil was't that thus had cozened you at Hoodman blind? Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smelling, sans all, or but a sickly part of one true sense could not so move.
Oh, shame, where is thy blush?
Bellius, hell! If thou canst mutiny in a matron's bones to flaming youth, let virtue be as wax and melt in her own fire.
Proclaim no shame when the compulsive ardor gives the charge, since frost itself as actively doth burn, and reason panders will.
Hamlet, speak no more, thou turns my eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and grained spots as will not leave their tinct.
Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty sty.
No more! These words like daggers enter in my ear. No, oh, speak to me no more. These words like daggers enter in my ears. No more, sweet Hamlet.
A murderer and a villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your precedent, Lord, a vice of kings, a cut purse of the empire and the rule that from a shelf of the precious diadem stole and put it in his pocket.
No more!
A king of shreds and patches!
Save me, and hover over me with your wings, you heavenly guards. What would your gracious figure?
He's mad.
You're not come to your tardy son to chide that lapsed in time and passion. Let's go by the important acting of your dread command.
Oh, say!
Do not forget, this visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul. Conceit in weakest bodies, strongest works. Speak to her, Hamlet.
How is it with you, lady?
Alas, how is't with you that you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporeal air do hold discourse? Forth at your eyes your spirits wildly peep, and as the sleeping soldiers in the alarm, your bedded hair like life in excrements start up and stand an end. O gentle sun, upon the heat and flame of thy distemper sprinkle cool patience. Whereon do you look?
On him.
On him?
Look you how pale he glares. His form and cause conjoined, preaching to stones would make them capable.
Do not look upon me, lest with this piteous action you convert my stern effects. And what I have to do will want true color, tears, perchance for blood.
To whom do you speak this?
Do you see nothing there?
Nothing at all, yet all that is I see.
Nor did you nothing hear?
No, nothing but ourselves.
What? Look you there! Look! How it steals away! My father in his habit as he lived.
Look, where he goes even now out at the portal.
This is the very coinage of your brain. This bodiless creation ecstasy is very cunning in.
Ecstasy. Lord, my pulse as yours doth temperately keep time and makes as healthful music.
It is not madness that I have uttered. Bring me to the test, and I the matter will reword which madness would gamble from. Mother, for love of grace lay not that flattering unction to your soul, that not your trespass but my madness speaks.
It will but skin and film the ulcerous place, whilst rank corruption mining all within infects unseen.
Confess yourself to heaven.
Repent what's past, avoid what is to come, and do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them ranker.
Forgive me this, my virtue, for in the fatness of these pursy times, virtue itself of vice must pardon beg, yea, curb and woo for leave to do him good.
Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
Oh! Throw away the worser part of it, and live the purer with the other half.
Good night.
But go not to my uncle's bed. Assume virtue, if you have it not. Yeah.
Refrain tonight, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence. The next more easy, for use almost can change the stamp of nature.
And either hold the devil or throw him out with wondrous potency.
Once more, good night. And when you are desirous to be blessed, I'll blessing beg of you.
For the same Lord, I do repent. But heaven hath pleased it so to punish me with this, and this with me, that I must be their scourge and minister.
I will bestow him and will answer well the death I gave him. So again, good night. I must be cruel only to be kind. This bad begins and worse remains behind.
One word more.
What shall I do?
Not this, by no means, that I bid you do. Let that loat king tempt you again to bed, pinch wanton on your cheek, call you his mouse, and let him for a pair of reachy kisses, or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers, make you to ravel all this matter out. I essentially am not in madness.
'Twere good you let him know. For who that's but a queen, fair, sober, wise, would from a paddock, from a bat, a gib, such dear concernings hide? Who would do so?
Be thou assured, if words be made of breath and breath of life, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me.
I must to England. You know that.
I had forgot 'tis so concluded on.
There's letters sealed. And my two schoolfellows, whom I will trust as I will adders fanged, they bear the mandate. They must sweep my way and marshal me to knavery. Let it work. For 'tis the sport to have the engineer hoist with his own petard, and shall go hard. But I will delve 1 yard below their minds and low them at the moon. Ah, 'tis most sweet when in one line two crafts directly meet.
This man shall set me packing. I'll lug the guts into the neighbor room. Mother, good night indeed. This counselor is now most still, most secret, and most grave.
Was a life of foolish prating knave. Come, sir, to draw toward an end with you.
Good night, mother.
Fabulous. That was less than 20 minutes. Thoughts? Reactions? Anything jump out at you? No? Nobody?
Something did jump out at me for the first time. At the very end, when he says, I must to England, you know that, and she's forgotten all about it because of what's been going on. And that sense of, fuck, now I'm alone with my husband, and now I have to like track what's going on, and I won't even have my son nearby. I think it begins the part of her story where she's alone. She's truly alone. She doesn't have a friend really at court, because now I think she's looking over her shoulder quite a lot.
That is a great, great observation.
So it ramps it. Yeah, I think rather than slow her down after this, I think it speeds her up as the play speeds up. Perhaps it would be really fun to explore physically how she physically now moves through the world. Maybe there's different kind of movement.
Yeah.
And then of course when Ophelia comes in, that is like so freaky, that whole thing.
Brilliant, Kathleen. That didn't even dawn on me.
I had never
She
thought about
realizes that once he leaves and
She's-
you now have this secret, you have nobody to share it with. That's brilliant. That's
right.
good stuff. Since we're there, oh, I don't like using the word since to mean because. Because we're there, I put a note there, Max, that after she says, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me, that is the end. That's the end. And if we were on stage, there may be a hug there. So you can take a beat of satisfaction. I don't know how the other Hamlet feels. That's up to the other Hamlet. But there is a sense of satisfaction that your mother is on board. She says, I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to say a word about this. I got your back. And then you come up with this, oh, by the way, you remember about that thing? Which now that, based on what Kathleen just said, maybe you are also realizing that you are going to be alone because I'm going to go to England. So maybe that's why you're telling me. But that can be a nice, intimate moment.
I can even see an embrace there, and
if we were on stage, I think I would build in some kind of embrace there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also bolsters the argument I'm mad in craft.
Yes.
The fact that he's got that ready answer, I'm gonna fuck them all up. It proves his point.
Yes. 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 Brilliant, Charlotte. Like that's what motivates him to say it, as well as you're going to be alone, because I'm thinking about me being mad in craft reminded me that I'm going to fuck up Guildenstern and whatever his name is.
Right. And who signed the letters? Claudius did.
Right. Brilliant. And that was a very long, director likes to hear himself talk note for just saying take a beat there. All right. Any other thoughts before I go through my thoughts from the tippity?
I mean, also kind of in that moment with Gertrude, a new moment that I think we discovered together that was fun was that there is like a shift in the middle of that line where we're like, I'm saying I must to England, and then there's the realization of her surprise, and it's like, wait, you know that. So there was a fun discovery there.
That's nice. I like that. Because there is no question mark after you know that. So yeah,
Hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to the toppy.
I'm enjoying thinking about all the disconnects that happen in this play. So very many. I mean, it goes without saying almost, but the dismantling of something solid, of something once not necessarily good, but whole.
Mm.
Being, and that's what, the family, the kingdom, or the
The
character
kingdom,
Hamlet?
family, and ultimately the country. The family, the kingdom, the court, the extended court, the country, and ultimately the world. You know, I mean, it's so interesting how it starts off almost, I don't know, there's a lot of home scenes. Home, we're at home, you know, we're at home at court. And then it just becomes more disconnected, but bigger, more disconnected, and then bigger, more disconnected, and then bigger.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, it's gorgeously constructed, I think. I mean, I've actually never, I've only seen a 4.5 hour version, and even then it was cut. Yeah, it was a lot to sit through, but yeah.
When done well, when it's done well, it's not that hard to sit through.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
Tonight being evidence of that claim. Everybody comfortable with the stage directions?
Yeah.
Yep, cool. All right, going back to the top. Max, Charlotte is giving us a very convincing performance that this half of Hamlet has the sword out and is going to kill him.
I jumped it though. Sorry, Max. I did jump it.
It's
But
okay.
I
I
know
don't
where
think
the timing is now.
But so what I'm saying, Max, is you need to stop her from killing him with that would-be scam.
Well,
If we were on
before
stage, she would have the sword in her hand like this, about to kill him, and you would grab her hand. But we don't have that. Because you could grab her hand and then say it, but we don't have that. So you got to stop her with the words.
But she has
It's
her own
huh?
line before I speak. And so he goes to heaven, and so I'm revenged. So when we just did it now, she was already questioning her actions before I spoke.
That's what I mean by jumping it. I had already started to equivocate and I shouldn't.
So should I say that line to stop you?
No, that would be
No,
scandalous.
I think it's my thinking is flawed there. And Charlotte fought against the line for a second. So
Okay.
I think it's, if I just keep the energy of now I'll do it, and so he goes to heaven, and so I am revenged, and that's when the sword is up. That's what I jumped.
Got it.
I knew it as soon as I did it, and I knew I fucked you up. So I'm sorry about that. So yeah.
So you got to.
So you'll say heaven, but you're still thinking like heaven just means he's dead. And that's the
Yeah,
goal.
it's like, and then
No, like, that would- like, hold on. Okay.
Because I think I'm driving right towards revenged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I haven't really, I've only thought of the journey, but I didn't think of what that journey meant. I'm just thinking revenge, and so you stopping me helps. Yeah.
And so, Max, your half of the brain hears the word heaven and goes, "Oh wait,
No.
wait, we can't do that."
Yeah.
Now, despite what I just said, this is tricky because what we had agreed was it's one idea. If you do this, it will be read as a villain kills my father, blah, blah, blah. So you need to stop her with the line, but don't stop after scanned.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very, very tricky note. I'm sorry. Especially, and I also, hi, Kitty. I also, is that Ruggles?
This is Riggles, yeah.
Ruggles? You also don't need to rush at all, Max. Even though I'm saying you need to stop her with urgency, you don't need to rush, because we do need to hear that argument about why we shouldn't do it, because this is what would happen to us. And we do need to hear phrases like hire and salary.
Okay.
And I noticed you stumbled over a couple of words, probably because you were rushing or going a little fast. I'm not sure why, but I know you'll get it. I'm not worried about it. A little ways down, Max. And course of thought is heavy with him. And am I then revenged? Am is in a stress position, not I.
Okay.
What I heard was, and am I then revenged? Sorry, I'm making notes as I go. Oh, I love the exchange after you put the sword away. Loved it. That was beautiful. Guys, don't get mad at me and my little scansion nerdiness, please. Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended. Mother, there's no way to not stress the you in that line. Am I correct? Am I right?
The sound in mother, you mean?
No, mother has to be a trochee because it can't be mother. Mother, I'm talking about the you. He has to hit the you because that's the point he's making. You just told him that he has offended his father, and he's saying, no, 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 no. You have offended my father. It's right. There's no way to avoid hitting the you. Am I right? Anybody?
I agree.
I think that's
Sandra,
great.
you agree? So it fucks up the scansion, doesn't it? So it's two trochees. It's mother, you have, mother, you have. No, it can't be you have. It has to be you have my father much offended. It's weird, but that's what it has to be. So you got it right, Max. I just caught it as I was listening.
Yeah, that one was fun because I was echoing Gertrude's Hamlet and was like, mother. That was fun.
Right. I like that. But notice she hits the verb. Thou hast thy father much offended. But you have to hit the pronoun there or it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, no, let's not even bother. Let's not even go there. It's just so much clearer. Mother, you have my father much offended. Yeah. It's just weird scansion. That's fine. And if we had more time, we would get into a lengthy discussion about why. Anyway, let's move on. What was that? Is that something that requires attention?
No, it was a sound my computer made.
By the way, I did notice that a couple of times on all of you, all three of you, the first sound of your line was lost. And I'm wondering if that's a setting in Zoom that we can fix or what? What do y'all think?
Probably timing.
Timing?
Yeah. We just have to give a tiny breath because Zoom just can't catch up.
Remember in the old days, Zoom used to have this thing on the upper left that said original sound and you could check it. Now it's not there.
That's still a
I
thing.
have it.
I haven't seen it in a long
I
time.
have,
It's a setting you turn on.
Oh, okay.
Sound for musicians is off on mine.
Does anyone know, is it better or worse when doing a reading like this to turn off sound for musicians or turn it back on?
I think turning it on is helpful.
Sound for musicians on?
That's my understanding, because then it doesn't like clip.
And where is it? Is it under audio advanced? Where is it?
If you go into your audio settings, it should be there under audio profile.
Yep, I see it.
And then when you click that, then the choice to turn it on or off shows up on your window in the actual Zoom call.
I see it. Okay. So it should be off or it should be on?
Should be on to preserve the original audio.
Okay, got it. Oh, but now I hear an echo.
No, that happens. The solution to that would be headphones.
Now, I'll just turn it on.
Okay.
So whoever has it on, okay, now it's gone. The echo's gone. So whoever had it on just turned it off. Oh, there's a choice
Am
for
I echoing? Am I echoing? No, I'm not.
under audio settings, under audio profile, original sound for musicians, there's a choice for echo cancellation. Let's see what happens.
Hmm.
Let's see if I can still hear myself echo. No, look at that. Okay, cool.
Okay, I turned off echo. Or I turned on echo cancellation as well. Is it still working?
Yep.
I do think the platform's gotten a little bit better. It's not that you can talk over each other or jump a line or something, but it's faster. Do you know what I mean? It it's not as bad as it used to be. I think.
Max, line 34, a bloody deed.
Yes.
What are you there? You have like a 10,000 choices of what you're playing with that line. What are you playing?
Well, since we talked about regret, I think that's a, I think in that moment Hamlet's experiencing the shock of putting it all together. Like, is it not the king? It's like a bloody deed. What are you talking about? So there's a shock element of shock there, is what I was imagining.
Okay. As long as it's very different from what the energy that Charlotte's coming in with, which is ignoring what just happened and turning it around and throwing it back at your mother.
Right. Like I'm looking at this guy I just killed, and she's like, "Well, that's nothing compared to what you've done."
Okay, that's cool. But remember, you don't know who it is yet. But you can play the shock. I like that. I like that choice. Um, the wretched ratch intruding fool. You can go even. Oh, what a horrible note this is going to be. Even sadder. But what I originally wrote was gentler, kinder. Real regret. Do you remember when you were at Ophelia's? No, forget Ophelia. Not that bad. Do you remember when you were holding Yorick's skull, and you said, "Oh man, just think the memories I had with this guy, and now he's gone. Look, and we all get reduced to this." It's almost that. It's almost like, "Oh no, not Polonius. Oh,
It's like killing
I'm
him
sorry,
heals
bro.
a part of my own childhood.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I didn't know it was you." It's that kind of feeling. Let your other half be like, "Ah, fuck that dude. Let's talk about what we really came here to talk about."
Got it.
Why did I highlight this word? Oh, I think I don't know what happened, Max. That blurs the grace and blush of modesty. I highlighted but I didn't tell myself why. I don't remember.
I
Anyway,
mispronounced it.
maybe.
It was like blush. I said it funny.
That blurs the grace and blush of modesty. So, despite what I just said, when you're talking to Polonius's dead body, you are regretful and you're like, "I'm sorry, man." But once your other half is like, "Fuck this. You sit down, mom. I want to talk to you." Now you can join in on that.
Yeah.
So what you did with "and let me wring your heart" was absolutely perfect. Don't change that. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. I'm loving the rhythm of it. I thought I would have more to say about the rhythm, but I don't. But I will say this. Charlotte, are you okay? Can you find a beat or two before Rebellious Hell? Or is that weird?
Yeah, I can. And I remembered that note after I steamrolled right past it. So yeah. You know how I do. So yeah. Okay.
And if you're going to say mutiny, then take out the mutiny in matron's bones.
Okay. I had so many notes on that I didn't know what it was. I'm just gonna take it out right now.
Yeah, so it's either mutine in a matron's bones or mutiny in matron's bones. Kathleen, you caught yourself with that thing and you corrected it. I love, oh my gosh, Charlotte and Kathleen, I love the pace up to when the ghost enters. That's exactly what it needs to be. Don't say anymore. I got more to say. I got more to say. No, stop. No, I got more to say. Boom, ghost enters. Love it. Love it. I think that's the rhythm. It's got to build and build and build and build. Oh, there's a question for y'all. Could you hear my sound cues?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Charlotte, how do we make it clear that do not look upon me is to the ghost without a stage direction? How do we do that?
Line, please.
So no one thinks you're talking to Gertrude.
Yeah, what line, please?
145. Maybe
I mean, I was looking off this way, but I can do that more. I can sell it. I'll figure something out.
or maybe look up into the ceiling if you have the line memorized, but if you don't have the line memorized, I don't want you to leave it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm going to call the exit cue a little bit later, but don't worry about that. Finally, is this the last thing I have to say? No, I have a couple more. Max, once you go to confess yourself to heaven, so the energies of the two sides of Hamlet are sort of matched. Once you go to confess yourself to heaven, you can turn down your fire.
Okay.
Let Charlotte live up here. Now you can be soft and intimate with your mom. Because now you're talking about we can still save ourselves and get our souls can still go to heaven. All the things you taught me as a child, I want you to remember, I think. So confess yourself to heaven, forgive me this my virtue, all that stuff can be easier. It can be easier for you.
Okay.
Which helps to bring Charlotte's half, to bring the temperature of that half down. That was not a note for you, Charlotte. We talked about that already. Engineer. Yep, that's it. That's all I got. Cassie, what you got?
Thought it was great. I think because we ended our last rehearsal with the scansion exercise, it was fun to hear the energy and the rhythm throughout. And despite Zoom always makes the pass offs funky between the shared lines, but I thought that there was so much life, and all three of you were really playing with each other in a really fun and beautiful way. It just felt like a minute since we had done the whole thing from top to tail without a stop, and I enjoyed the ride.
I just thought of a question.
Yes, sir.
Since we were looking at the lines on 175,
Yes, sir.
I was curious if yay is a verb, or if it's like virtue itself of vice must pardon beg. Yay, curb and woo. Like, or is it?
It's adding emphasis to what you
Okay.
said before. It's almost like saying, in fact, virtue must do this. Yes, go this far. So
Okay.
it's almost like cranking cranking it up one level.
Got it. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I just wanted to make sure because I was like, wait, is it a verb?
It's almost like a Stevie Wonder song when all of a sudden near the end he just changes keys and goes up here and you're like, whoa, Stevie, what are you doing?
Yeah, curb and woo.
It's almost like you're saying, yeah, it's not even just that, it's this.
Right. Virtue itself of vice must pardon beg. Yay, curb and woo. It's like amping up the energy.
Curb in this sense, in this context, I think means to kneel. Is that right, Cassie? Is that what curb means here? To kneel and beg. And which and the point you're making is virtue something virtuous would never do that, would never ask vice. Virtue would never turn to vice and ask for pardon. What? But now, in these times of decadence and opulence, even virtue has to beg vice of pardon.
For leave to do him good.
Yeah, and again, no need to rush.
No rushing.
Are you looking something up, Charlotte?
You're muted.
Yeah, I just no, nothing major, just following the conversation.
And that section there, Max, I think that's a nice contrast if you are being gentle and saying, I can't believe that this is what we're living in, while Charlotte is going, you need to ask for forgiveness, Mom. It's a nice contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts at all? Any thoughts at all?
It must be so jarring for Gertrude to be like getting gentle and good cop and bad cop at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember, this is not a.
It's helpful. It's helpful in the mad, especially in the mad part,
Mm-hmm.
to be, and he kind of arrives that way. He's been acting weird for a while. So, yeah, I like it. The different voices, very different.
Remind me, after Polonius and Claudius used Ophelia to trap him for the get thee to a nunnery scene, did they tell you about that? Did you know that that happened? I forget.
I've done the play twice, and the first time, and it was so many years ago, I barely remember it, Paul. But the director made a choice that I would stay with Polonius and Claudius as they eavesdropped on that scene, which was interesting, I thought. And it was kind of like put that in your bag of information, and you know, almost as if they were pretending to give her a little bit of empowerment in the situation, but she doesn't have any lines. Is my could have been the cutting, but I think she doesn't have any lines. So, and then I don't remember the second time I did it, and again, this was years ago. Years ago, I don't think I was even in that scene. It was the guys
Well,
conspiring.
well, choose whichever one serves you for this scene. Do you know about that Ophelia interchange or not? Like, is this your first exposure to his quote unquote madness?
Well, I think I'm aware somehow he's acting strangely during the players scene. But you know what? That
Strangely,
would be,
yes, but mad?
but mad, no. But mad, no. I think there is a surprise in this closet scene when she says, "Alas, he's mad." It's almost as if to say, "Fuck, that's the reason why this is going." So I can kind of justify it that it is her first close up connection with him behaving just like this.
I'm just remembering something, and I'm sure that's why Cassie came off mute to remind me, isn't it? Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just enjoying Kathleen's observation. I'm not sure what you're.
I just remembered that Polonius came to both of you, king and queen, and said, I figured out what's going on. Your son is mad. Mad call I it. So either you took that seriously or you didn't, and now you're watching him talk to his dead father, and you're making that reconnection and going, oh, wow,
Yeah,
really
I
is.
right,
And then he tells you, hey, I'm not mad, I'm just pretending.
right. Um, yeah, that would be an interesting thing to play with in performance, I think, or in rehearsal. Um, it's what it is for her above all is a goddamn shame and a horror that now he's no use to the family, to the world. If he's mad, he's going to be put away.
Mhm.
And how can I live without him? So,
Which is maybe why you agree, I won't tell a soul that you're pretending to be mad.
correct. And I think from that moment on, I think her trajectory for a moment is to try to quell him, just to try to calm the situation down, get a hold of you. You know, ecstasy is very cunning when you're, you know, this is taking control of your, but you know, like you would a friend or a
Yep.
loved one.
Try to de-escalate the situation.
You would de-escalate. Yes, indeed. That's a great word.
Speaking of which, Charlotte, I love how you're handling ecstasy. That's a very nice turn away from what just happened, and she's now gonna have you. She just opened a gate for you to walk down this different avenue. I'm loving how you're playing that.
I have a question when we have
Yes,
a sec.
please. And yes, go ahead.
Scansion wise in 62,
Mm-hmm.
because that line seems to have like an extra foot and makes a healthful music, it is not madness. I'm curious like where the emphasis naturally lands there.
62.
Like it is not madness or it is not madness. Or
You sure it's 62?
162?
Oh,
62.
162.
Oh,
Sorry.
Is that an extra foot, Cassie? What did we talk about when we scan this? And makes as healthful music. Oh, yeah. And makes as healthful music. It is not madness.
Which is funny if the line about madness is very disorderly.
Yeah. Well, the stressed syllables are makes, health, muse, is, and mad.
Hmm.
So we probably should start. We probably should not take too much time to figure out which grammatical descriptions to give these feet, but
Okay.
we can read it as 5 feet. As long as if you come right on in on Charlotte's music, and as long as we hear you say is not,
Okay.
it is not madness.
Got it. Thank you.
And you can really slow it down there, Max, because Charlotte is like going at a good pace there. You can bring it back down in terms of pace, not intensity. In terms of pace.
Mm-hmm.
Should we rock and roll? What do y'all think?
Aye, aye, Captain.
can I have a 2-minute pee break?
Yes.
Okay,
2 minutos, por favor. Bio break.
thank you.
Back in a few.
Unless you meant actual peas. Unless you wanted to like eat a pea. Unless that's what you meant, then we'll. Mad call I it.
Headphones? Force of habit.
All right, I'm going off camera, and you guys good? Everybody good?
Mm-hmm.
Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 3. Claudius tries to pray.
Bow stubborn knees, and heart with strings of steel, be soft as sinews of the newborn babe. All may be well.
Claudius kneels. Hamlet enters with his sword.
Now, might I do it, Pat? Now he is a praying, and now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven, and so am I revenged.
That would be scanned. A villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, do this same villain send to heaven? Why, this is hire and salary, not revenge. He took my father grossly, full of bread, with all his crimes, broad, blown, as flush as May.
How his audit stands, who knows, save heaven.
But in our circumstance and course of thought, 'tis heavy with him. And am I then revenged to take him in the purging of his soul, when he is fit and seasoned for his passage?
No.
No. Up, sword, and know thou a more horrid hint.
Hamlet sheathes his sword.
When he is drunk, asleep,
Or in his rage.
or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed.
At game, a swearing, or about some act that has no relish of salvation in it. Then trip him that his heels may kick at heaven.
And that his soul may be as damned and black as hell, whereto it goes.
My mother stays.
This physic but prolongs thy sickly days.
Scene 4. Queen Gertrude with Polonius.
He will come straight, pray you, be round with him.
I will warrant you, fear me not. Withdraw. I hear him coming.
Polonius hides behind the curtain.
Now, mother, what's the matter?
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
Come, you answer with an idle tongue.
Go, you question with a wicked tongue.
Why, how now, Hamlet?
What's the matter now?
Have you forgot me?
No, by the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife.
And would it were not so, you are my mother.
Nay, then I'll set those to you that can speak.
Come and sit you down, you shall not budge. You go not till I set you up a glass where you may see the inmost part of you.
What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me? Help! Ho!
What ho? Help!
Hannah, a rat! Dead for a ducat! Dead!
He stabs Polonius through the curtain.
Oh, I am slain!
Oh me, what hast thou done?
Nay, I know not. Is it the king?
Oh, what a rash and bloody deed is this.
A bloody deed?
Almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother.
As kill a king?
Aye, lady, was my word.
He reveals Polonius' body.
How wretched, rash, intruding fool! Farewell. I took thee for thy better. Take thy fortune. Thou find'st to be too busy is some danger.
Leave wringing of your hands. Peace, sit you down.
And let me wring your heart, for so I shall, if it be made of penetrable stuff.
If damned custom have not raised it so that it be proof and bulwark against sense.
What have I done that thou darest wag thy tongue in noise so rude against me?
Such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite,
Takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love and sets a blister there. Makes marriage vows as false as dicers' oaths.
Oh, such a deed as from the body of contraction plucks the very soul, and sweet religion makes a rhapsody of words.
Heaven's face doth glow with tristful visage, as against the doom is thought sick at the act.
Me, what act that roars so loud and thunders in the index?
Look here upon this picture, and on this, the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See what a grace was seated on this brow. Hyperion's curls the front of Jove himself.
I like Mars to threaten or command. A station like the herald Mercury, new lighted on a heaven-kissing hill.
A combination and a form indeed, where every god did seem to set his seal, to give the world assurance of a man. This was your husband.
Look you now, what follows. Here is your husband. Like a mildewed ear, blasting his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Could you on this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this moor, huh? Have you eyes?
You cannot call it love.
For at your age, the heyday in the blood is tame. It's humble and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment would step from this to this?
Sense, sure you have, else could you not have motion, but sure that sense is apoplexed, for madness would not err, nor sense to ecstasy was ne'er so thralled, but it reserved some quantity of choice to serve in such a difference.
What devil was it that thus hath cozened you at Hoodman blind? Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smelling sans all, or but a sickly part of one true sense could not so mope.
Oh, shame, where is thy blush?
Rebellious hell. If thou canst mutiny in matron's bones, to flaming youth let virtue be as wax, and melt in her own fire.
Proclaim no shame when the compulsive ardor gives the charge, since frost itself as actively doth burn, and reason panders will.
Speak no more. Thou turnest my eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and grain-rich spots as will not leave their tinct.
Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty sty.
Oh, speak to me no more. These words like daggers enter in my ears. No more, sweet Hamlet.
A murderer and a villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your precedent, Lord, the vice of kings, a cutpurse of the empire and the rule, that from a shelf this precious diadem stole and put it in his pocket.
No more!
A king of shreds and patches!
Save me, and hover o'er me with your wings, you heavenly guards. What would your gracious figure?
Alas, he's mad.
Do you not come to do you not come your tardy son to chide that lapsed in time and passion lets go by at the important acting of your dread command?
Oh, say!
Do not forget. This visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul. Conceit in weakest bodies, strongest works. Speak to her, Hamlet.
How is it with you, lady?
How is't with you, that you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporal air do hold discourse? Forth at your eyes your spirits wildly peep, and as the sleeping soldiers in the alarm, your bedded hair, like life in excrements, stand up and like life in excrements, start up and stand on end. Oh, gentle sun, upon the heat and flame of thy distemper sprinkle cool patience. Whereon do you look?
On him.
Him?
Look you how pale he glares! His form and cause conjoined, preaching to stones would make them capable.
Do not look upon me, lest with this piteous action you convert my stern effects. Then what I have to do will want true color. Tears, perchance for blood.
To whom do you speak this?
Do you see nothing there?
Nothing at all. Yet all that is I see.
Nor did you nothing hear?
No, nothing but ourselves.
Why, look you there! Look how it steals away. My father in his habit as he lived.
Look, where he goes even now out at the portal!
This is the very coinage of your brain. This bodiless creation ecstasy is very cunning in.
My pulse as yours doth temperately keep time and makes us healthful music.
It is not madness that I have uttered. Bring me to the test, and I the matter will reword, which madness would gamble from. Mother, for love of grace, lay not that flattering unction to your soul, that not your trespass, but my madness speaks?
Will but skin and film the ulcerous place, whilst rank corruption mining all within infects unseen.
Confess yourself to heaven.
Repent of what's past. Avoid what is to come, and do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them rancor.
Forgive me this, my virtue. For in the fatness of these pursy times, virtue itself of vice must pardon beg. Yea, curb and woo for leave to do him good.
Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
Throw away the worser part of it, and live the pure with the other half.
Good night.
But go not to my uncle's bed. Assume a virtue if you have it not.
Refrain tonight, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence, the next more easy. For use almost can change the stamp of nature.
And either hold the devil or throw him out with wondrous potency.
Once more, good night. And when you are desirous to be blessed, I'll blessing beg of you.
For this same Lord, I do repent. But heaven hath pleased it so to punish me with this and this with me, that I must be their scourge and minister.
I will bestow him, and will answer well the death I gave him. So again, good night. I must be cruel only to be kind. This bad begins, and worse remains behind.
One word more, good lady.
What shall I do?
Not this, by no means that I bid you do. Let the bloat king tempt you again to bed, pinch wanton on your cheek, call you his mouse, and let him for a pair of reachy kisses or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers make you to ravel all this matter out. That I essentially am not in madness, but mad in craft.
'Twere good. Fair, sober, wise, would from a paddock, from a bat, a gib, such dear concernings hide? Who would do so?
Be thou assured, if words be made of breath and breath of life, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me.
I must to England. You know this.
Alack, I had forgot 'tis so concluded on.
Here's the letters sealed. And my two schoolfellows, whom I will trust as I will adders fanged, they bear the mandate. They must sweep my way and marshal me to knavery. Let it work. For 'tis the sport to have the engineer hoist with his own petard, and shall go hard, but I will delve you 1 yard below their minds and blow them at the moon. Oh, it is most sweet when in one line two crafts directly meet.
This man shall set me packing. I'll lug the guts into the neighbor room. Mother, good night, indeed. This counselor is now most still, most secret, and most grave.
Who was in life a foolish prating knave? Come, sir, to draw toward an end with you.
Good night, mother.
Absolutely brilliant. I am overwhelmed with how brilliant that was. Your thoughts? Anyone?
I felt like the gentleness carried through a little bit more this time. At times it broke, but having that anchor in gentleness kind of helped ground a perspective. And there were times to let her have it, but mostly I just felt confusion and betrayal and a longing to have her just say I'm wrong, I'm sorry, you're right. And that started to shape a lot of where I was coming from.
I think I saw a lot of their previous relationship in this scene that I'd never felt before.
Their relationship between Hamlet and Gertrude, or
Yeah. The closeness that they once had. I felt that a lot more in the even in the nastier moments, the way they play with each other. I feel like in better times they might have had a little bit more fun, and this was they were using it as barbs and weapons. But I definitely felt that the heartbreak of that relationship breaking and coming apart and breaking again, and then the I've got to go, mom. I felt that in a different way tonight.
Seems like in the play, one of the themes, at least that come out for me, is how much, and I guess you could argue, how much does each of the characters need this, but how much each of the characters needs to hold on to something. Needs just to hold on to something that's not going to throw them overboard or get them killed or and it would be fun to explore that with interacting with, for example, other people on stage, or the set, or props or costumes. You know,
Nathan, are you listening? I think we're saying we want to take this live.
Always excited to hear that people want to keep working on the scene. And yes, it has come up before of just like, okay, when do we get to do the rest of this? And I've heard it from audiences too. So no, it's great that it stimulates your ideas for this, and you know, certainly the feeling that, okay, I never want to look at this text again. Hopefully that's not where people are at the end of 4 weeks. I mean, these scenes are so rich, and there's so much going on with these characters up to this point, and of course after, that there's just so much to explore. Well, wonderful,
Cassie,
wonderful.
before you start, Nathan, I want to make sure Cassie gets her voice in the post-mortem. I didn't want to leave you out.
Thank you, Paul. I just really want to shout out the beat that we were talking about just before we did the reading that Kathleen observed, and how beautiful that was in performance. And I think that speaks to, there's always something to discover. That's the beautiful thing about these texts. Every time you spend time with them, you just peel another layer of the onion, and that beat really sang, Kathleen. So thank you for that magic.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, yeah, to jump into you know, some questions and get people talking a little bit more. I would love to hear from the actors. Maybe we can start with the Hamlets, or one of the Hamlets. What challenged you? What surprised you about the character? Certainly approaching it from, you know, two different angles. You know, I imagine for most people it's a character you have some familiarity with, or maybe you've been part of the play or done a monologue or whatever. But now working on it in this way, what illuminated things for you, or what again, yeah, what surprised or challenged you? I'd love to hear from either of the Hamlets on that.
So I've done this once. Well, no, lies. I played Ophelia 1,000 years ago. But more recently I played Laertes, who's just a firebrand. So that's where I naturally go as a performer. So to the point where sometimes I could get lost in it. And so I think that was the challenge for me. And so to have Max's, you know, lovely energy and lovely, like, whoa, 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 hey, you know, the cerebral and the heart, because I think I'm sometimes, you know, and it was like having that stopgap, but in a fully embodied human, and it was just, it made that easier, and it made that more organic for me, and I appreciated that, and to have those moments of connection between the two of us when we both came together in our thinking, was, we didn't talk too much about that. They just happened on their own. So I thought that was really, that was great. So what I perceived as a challenge actually became like a really lovely, beautiful thing. So thank you, Max.
Actually, thank you. And I was actually going to say the same thing, how it really does feel like counter melodies that are playing simultaneously, where we each get to like focus on one instrument instead of like perhaps the classic Hamlet is like always jumping from instrument to instrument because he's all over the place with where like so much is going on. But getting to take a step back and process one thing and find a through line from a I felt that same sort of like, I've always felt like, oh, I'm not strong enough on stage. I'm not like, I got to be more cutting. I have to be more aggressive. And to kind of find and like, especially approaching a role like Hamlet, who is so driven, I often think like, oh, I can't play a role like that because it's like my energy is so soothing and calm, but it's nice to kind of feel like I have a side of Hamlet, so that actually did feel easier in that sense, where I got to like let myself be me and let you be you, and we both found that compliment. So thank you, Charlotte.
Well, and I would, speaking as an observer, it would be very interesting as an actor, or perhaps for either of you or anyone watching, to go back to any of the text, the monologues, with the two opposing energies, and then trying to do that as one actor. Bringing, because you're familiar, like, oh right, this was Charlotte, or this was me, or this was Max, or whatever. So that I think what it does, or what I'm seeing, is it really kind of heightens how a lot of classes or teachers will try to get actors to be very specific of what are you doing with each line, and how might your tactics be shifting, or what's happening in this moment, or how does that inform the next moment, because it's very easy to just kind of paint things with very broad strokes. And by really embodying, by using two actors to embody the two sides, you get very specific takes on the different lines. So I think it'd be very, very interesting to see how that would inform just one of you, doing Hamlet, because you just have what you remember the other person doing in your head. And again, it doesn't mean that you would do it the same way as the two of you had done together. You may find new things and explore different ways to continue that journey. But I think that would be really interesting to explore as a solo actor now having this experience. I'd love to hear from Cassie. Dramaturgically, was there anything that really stood out to you, by working on the play, that maybe you hadn't noticed as much in the past, or anything that really intrigued you or interested you about the play that maybe you want to continue exploring?
Well, I think it's so fascinating to take these, particularly Hamlet's soliloquies, and have them be spoken by two different people. And I think what really excited me about the way that Paul divided the two sides of that coin was that we were really sharing the words in the midst of lines. The two Hamlets had shared lines together, and that sense of kind of passing the baton and continuing to lift the energy is really exciting, particularly
or grabbing the baton.
That's true. Well, particularly as the two of them are trying to figure out which Hamlet is going to be the decision maker in this moment. So I thought that was really fun to play with. And you would think over Zoom, the lag would get in the way. And it's delightful to see that shared energy continues to persist even in this virtual platform.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And Kathleen, I know you said you worked on the play before. What was it like for you as an actor working on Gertrude this time? Yes, of course, there were two Hamlets that you were working opposite. But were there things about Gertrude that stood out to you, during this exploration, that whether or not you played this character in the play in the past, that now you noticed? And you are on mute before you start talking.
Yeah, I'm not sure this iteration shifted my my overall idea of her arc, but it certainly deepened
Mhm.
it. And I'm always
Sure.
kind of in love with getting into a process with a new director, no matter if I've done the play or not, because it's really their concept and their cutting that is going to determine um, how I actively move through the arc, because that's probably not going to change too much. Her story is going to be her story. Um, However, um, in this iteration, I was so much more sort of deeply aware that that she is a responder of all the stuff that gets thrown. But at the very, very end,
Mhm.
that taking of the cup and drinking of that cup purposefully is an act of forward motion.
Sure.
And it's what makes her, for lack of a better word, a heroic character, not just a put upon one and a victim of her circumstance. Unfortunately, it kills her. But what other choice does
Sure.
she have if that's the one thing she can do? And then I realized today that actually, if we're looking at Ophelia's climbing up the tree as a suicide, um, that's her greatest effort toward solving whatever situation she can't put together, um, toward solving it, towards solving the problem.
Mhm.
One other thing was that this time around, I became more aware, Paul, and thanks everybody for weighing in on the quarto, the differences between the quartos, because I had never really paid attention to that, and not really paid attention to the fact that a lot of scholars think the quarto two is better. Um, it was great to become aware of that, and I think when I've done this play both times, the text in this scene has been significantly cut down. So it was really good to do it fully, or almost fully. I mean, that silly story about
Sure.
the ape and the box and thinking he's going to fly. Yeah, great. Cut that. 'Cause it's so
Um,
absurd.
much respect, if not all of the respect and gratitude is deserved by Dr. Gideon Rappaport, who is one of, if not the foremost authority on Shakespeare's texts, who has, by the way, recently written a book on, is it on Hamlet, Nathan, or is it the whole canon?
Yeah, he wrote he created an annotated his own annotated version of Hamlet. Yeah.
Of Hamlet.
When did
And
that
Yeah.
come out? And who is
like
he? Where
4 weeks ago, like the week before we started, it was released.
Yeah, it was right at the end of the year, right end of the year, beginning of the year, somewhere in there. But yeah,
is he a Brit or an American? Do we know?
Very American.
he's an American. He's based in San Diego. Yeah,
And he
Wow.
does
he's worked.
some of these
Yeah.
workshops occasionally with
Yep.
Nathan. And I had a
Yeah,
great,
he was just part. I think he was. I try to keep everything straight in my head, but I believe he was just part of our workshop in December. But yeah, he's done many of these. So he's great. Very passionate about the text, and making it as clear as possible, and all that. So yes, yeah. If people can check out Gideon's version of Hamlet, and then he has another volume of kind of introductions to a lot of the plays, and his thoughts and ideas on many of them. And he even created a podcast version of that, so people can kind of pick and choose what sections they might want to learn about different plays. But yeah, no, I'm glad he was very helpful in this as well.
yeah, I had a good chat with him
And
before we started, and talking specifically about, it wasn't a chat, it was an email exchange, specifically about the differences between the folio and the second quarto and other
Mhm.
versions. And he was very helpful.
Yeah. Oh, good. And it's I wanted to bring up another point about the scenes, and it might be a simple point, but I think sometimes it can be so helpful, especially when you guys have the time. That I really enjoyed when you would talk about other scenes, and, well, what does Hamlet know about what happened before, and what does Gertrude know? But was Gertrude present? And even the things that happened between the scenes. Did Polonius ever share this with Gertrude? Like, I think that was just really, I mean, as an audience member, really fascinating to think about. Of like, oh right, we often think about the play ends as soon as the actor like leaves the stage, but there is this whole world going on of all these interconnected scenes that we never see. And it's just interesting. There's no right or wrong. It's just really fascinating to explore how might that inform this moment, or what's to come. So I thought that was just a really fun tactic that you employed. That may not be obvious for a lot of people working on these scenes, that it's like, well, right, what happened in the scenes that we're not seeing, and what's the connective tissue there? So to Paul and the group, I really enjoyed that those discussions specifically.
It's interesting. You just made me think that, long about before the player scene and how that's getting set up is Hamlet seems like he's the only spy at court, right? And that once we, he's just spying on the situations of what could be happening. But as the play propels forward, everybody becomes that guy. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are pulled into it.
Polonius,
Polonius is pulled into it. Gertrude is pulled into it.
Ophelia's pulled into it.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like the whole play starts playing with a different gesture or something,
Hmm.
as it proceeds. Just interested to how that would physically be reflected in the set design, in the costumes, and the furtiveness. Is there furtiveness that creeps in?
I remember hearing this story of I think it was for the play American Buffalo, and the director was working with the actors, and it was, he wanted to kind of give this conspiratorial note, and he just mentioned to one of the actors, "Can anybody hear you out the window?" And it made the actor like become aware of what he's saying and how loud he's saying it and who else might be hearing it out the window, and just those little things that, like, might inform the rest of the characters throughout this play of who's listening, like how big is the castle, how intimate are the rooms, how close to each room is the other room, and all those things that you can start to think about of, like, really the world of the play of, yeah, who might be around the corner that I don't know is around the corner, all those things that just continue to add to the fun of what's going on. And the it's come up in these workshops before. It's like, how do you create this sense that at any time a character might stop speaking, but then they keep going, because they have more text. So it's like it's creating that unpredictability even in the text that we're all familiar with of is a character done speaking and no, they have more to say, or now another character enters and everyone's surprised that character showed up, all those things. So I think what I'm speaking to is that your exploration of the text as a group just fires off so many more ideas that are just fun to explore and think about. So I think it's really exciting, and yes, we'll have to look for funding for you guys to be able to do this in person somewhere. But no, I think it was really fun to approach a text like this with two actors playing one character. We've done shared roles and all that kind of stuff, but never two actors at the same time working on the same text. So yeah, it was very fun. Is there anything in the closing moments here anyone else would like to share about the experience, or what they're excited about looking at this play in the future, or anything like that?
I would like to just extend my gratitude to everyone here for agreeing to do this craziness, this madness, as it were. I'm sure when you heard the idea, you were all like, is he completely insane? And hopefully you don't think that anymore. It's impossible for me to say how grateful I am for you to try it, to be willing to do it, and then to do it so friggin' well. Thank you so much.
Well, you're very on behalf of the audience, I'm thrilled that you all did it as well. And I'll say, for my money, this is not as out there as like seeing a production of Hamlet in space. So at least this is a little bit more grounded in the text, and so it was really enjoyable. Just getting a much deeper appreciation of these characters and this particular scene. So yeah, my thanks to everybody as well.
Thank you, Nathan.
All right, wonderful. Well, we'll just kind of wrap up the public portion of this evening. Again, thank you to all of the artists here. For those who are watching, we'll send you more information via email if you'd like to stay involved. Again, next month I'm going to pull out an archive of one of our workshops so you can see what we've done in the past. I think it'll be really fun to revisit that. You can get audio and video replays of those weeks. And then moving forward, we'll have new live rehearsals. That's the plan from March and forward. And that's it. Thank you so much for being part of the Working Actors Journey Rehearsal Room. We hope you had a great time and look forward to sharing more with you again soon. All right, take care.
Bye.